Hello and welcome to another Dynamic CCTV technical video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the Revader rapid deployment solutions. Dynamic CCTV are very pleased to announce a partnership with Revader, who manufacture many different rapid deployment solutions, from small static stainless steel enclosed cameras onto self-contained PTZ systems such as this one, and also very large generator run tower solutions as well. As you may know, rapid deployment systems can become very useful in certain environments or certain locations where you may not have power feeds or you may not have data feeds. Busy areas where it's very difficult to get data feeds to. These units can be put up and offer a temporary or even permanent solution in certain locations, or they can be temporarily used and then taken down and reused at another location later on. This particular unit here is a Transit-Lite unit. It's a self-contained PTZ system. It's got a Hikvision mini PTZ camera fitted to it, which is a DS2DE4A425IWDE. It's a mini PTZ with a 50 metre IR. It's also got auto tracking as well, which is a very handy feature for tracking and following targets. Being removed from its out of the box enclosure and fitted into a lightweight constructed material, as is the enclosure further up. It's very beneficial because it keeps the weight down, allows the cameras to be utilised and installed on traditional street light lampposts. It's quite important to keep the weight down in those sort of scenarios, as councils may have a maximum weight limit for these sort of devices to allow you to deploy them in those locations. So that's, it's a very lightweight construction. It's got an easy clip bracket on the rear, which allows you to wall or pole mount it using Jubilee clips. This just simply slots into the top like so and then locks together. It then allows you to either put a bolt or a padlock through the hole there to keep everything nice and secure. There's also a secure safety clip there which we can attach to the bottom when installing, just to make sure that everything's obviously conforms to health and safety, etc. So inside the, as I said earlier, it's a self-contained system. So inside this enclosure here, we've got quite a few components. As I mentioned, we've got the camera. There's also a little 4-channel NVR board inside here, a DS7604NIK1. There's a Teltonica 3G, 4G wireless router inside here, an RUT955 model. There's a little network switch. There's also a failover battery, which will kick in if the power cut is triggered or detected, and that will run the unit for approximately 3 hours under power fail scenarios as well. On the top of the unit we've got the antenna here, which is what this big black sort of dome shaped device is. We've also got the power connection here as well. These are actually IP68 connections, so pretty much ideal for outdoor conditions in the UK, very watertight, make sure nothing's going to get in there. The unit is manufactured itself to IP66 and it's vacuum tested, so not one of these products will leave the factory without being verified to conform to that IP rating as well, which obviously gives additional peace of mind that when you put the thing up it's going to perform to its maximum in and out the oil elements as such. The unit comes with a PSU, which is this device here. This can be installed in close proximity to the device itself. It's got an IP68 plug on the top there, which connects straight to the top of the unit, and a mains lead coming off, which can be connected to the power source, which could be ran from a building. As I said earlier, it is possible to connect these things up to traditional street lamps. You can utilise the power feed inside the street lamp to actually power the device itself, so your mains will be run straight from the lamppost as such. One barrier sometimes faced with that is that your traditional street lamps will have a sort of a dusk till dawn sensor on the top, which turns them on and off during the day, and they'll come on at night. So to get round the actual camera powering down during daylight hours, there's an optional transit battery available for this particular unit. And what that'll do is it'll sit in close proximity to the camera. It'll recharge during the night when the mains from the lamppost is active, and then it'll discharge during the day, giving obviously continuous power to the PTZ during daylight hours. So you're generally looking at around about a 6-hour charge for this transit battery, which is, you've got more than enough time during the evening hours to charge the battery, but that 6 hour then gives us a runtime of 18 hours discharge, which will power or maintain power to the PTZ during daylight hours. So that's the actual sort of system itself, or one of the systems. They do offer a more ruggedized version of this camera, which is the Transit PTZ PoE unit. It's a more ruggedized unit. It's sort of stainless steel enclosure, so a little bit heavier. It's designed for installs that or scenarios where the unit may need to be redeployed over and over again, so built obviously to last, if you like. It's also got the ability to utilise the alarm inputs and also the two-way audio connections from the camera and NVR inside, which are obviously inside this enclosure. So the connections on the top allow you to utilise the audio and the alarm inputs as well on the Transit PTZ unit. As I mentioned earlier, this particular unit is a self-contained system, so it is capable of being installed and pretty much left alone. The 4-channel NVR board does have a 2TB disk attached to it inside here as well, so it can be pretty much left to record to the hard disk on its own, allowing you to log in as and when required to obviously check the status of it and also check any particular footage you might need to interrogate. The unit does have, as mentioned, have the 3G and the 4G capabilities, which you can use to log in. You can also use it to add to a back-end VMS if such, purely for exception alerts, just to allow you to the peace of mind of knowing that the unit is functioning 100%. If anything does go wrong with it, an exception alert will allow your VMS to alert you in various different ways. It does have a wireless access point which you can connect to as well periodically to interrogate any of the footage or to service the unit as well. If you did require it to permanently stream to a back-end VMS or a back-end recorder, that also is possible. It might be a little bit uneconomical from the 3G, 4G side of things in terms of your data requirements, but there's nothing stopping you from connecting one of these up to a wireless link, a wireless P2P link, such as the Ubiquity products that Dynamic CCTV sell, and also the 𝐂𝐨𝐫𝐸 products. That would offer you a direct wireless streaming link back to a remote LAN network where you can obviously take the permanent stream and record it continuously to a alternative back-end NVR other than the one that's actually inside the unit itself. So what we'll do now is what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this on a tripod and rig it up and get it working so we can have a look at it in action, and also accessing the actual web browser from the NVR, the camera, and also the router itself. Okay, so I've now got the rapid deployment unit set up on a small tripod. What you can see there in the image is the road leading up to our training academy, and the unit is currently streaming wirelessly to my laptop. So obviously bottom corner we can see there that we're currently connected to the CYM4117 access point, which is the Wi-Fi within the Teltonica router. So what we've got on the screen at the moment is the live view from the web front end of the camera, and in the bottom left hand corner screen you can obviously see the actual unit itself on the tripod in operation. So the actual web front ends are no different to what you'd expect from any sort of Hikvision IPC. Got all of your controls on the right hand side, your PTZ controls. I can move that around as and where I wish. I can set it, move to preset positions, again as normally expected from a Hikvision PTZ, there down the right hand side there. We can also set patrols up from the unit as well, which can also be activated from these controls and also from the NVR as well. The configuration menu at the top again allows you to alter any of the settings direct from the camera itself. Edit the streaming parameters of the camera, we can set events up, we can even adjust the PTZ parameters of the unit as well. If we want to put a park action on after a set duration, we can do that. We've got the privacy mask, schedule tasks. You have all of your PTZ controls which can be customised from this menu here. The second tab along is the NVR itself. As I mentioned earlier, it does have a little 4-channel K-series NVR inside the camera itself, so making it a self-contained recording system as such. You can click on the configuration menu here and move down to storage and also storage management. You can see there we've got a 2TB HDD installed and connected and active on the actual NVR, ready for recordings. We've got a record schedule here which is set for continuous. Again, that can be customised to any of the options here on the right hand side. If you want to preserve as much hard disk space as possible, you can put it on a motion or event only recording schedule and have it only record when event activation occurs. We've also got the Teltonica router page itself here, which again I'm connected to wirelessly. We can see the status page on show at the moment. There's your SSID as shown earlier, SYM417 access point. You can click on the network option there and go down to firewall, and also port forwarding. And we can see at the bottom we've got two entries, one for the NVR, one for the camera. You will actually receive the redeployable unit with the port forwarding already entered into the router settings. 8000 for the NVR and 80, or port forwards through to 80 for the camera. You can edit this if you choose to change the actual NVR and cameras to be on a different range or a different port range. Obviously you can enter the port forwarding screen here, and you can obviously edit the existing rules, or you can set up at the bottom new port forwarding rule here. If you wanted to open the additional ports, the RTSP and command port for both of the items, you can do that from there. You can also view the mobile status of the unit. Now this particular router doesn't have any SIM cards installed, but this is where you would view the information. Obviously it's a dual SIM router, so you've got the failover option of putting a second SIM card in if required, and you can view the information from here. You can also view the local LAN information of the router, which is currently set to 100.221. As you can see in the top corner there, that's the default LAN address for the router. You've obviously got various other, but again, as you've got all the options you'd expect from any router there, which you can obviously log in and customize and set as you may wish for any particular install. So that's the actual unit running, and again, nothing that you shouldn't really be familiar with if you've set up and used Hikvision NVRs and cameras. You'd be familiar with this web front end. Again, if you wanted to connect to the unit through one of the VMS options, iVMS 4200 or the License 6 Sentinel, again you can do that either locally or through the WAN connection or mobile connection as well. One thing I did quickly want to just show before we close the video is just the battery, the failover battery, which again is installed inside the actual unit itself with a 3-hour running time. What I want to do is just unplug the actual power supply for the redeployable unit, and we can then see the failover battery kick in, hopefully without any interference or any effects to the actual video stream. Crossover time is sort of minimal, and we should see that now. So if you just bear with me, I'll just go and unplug the actual unit. So as you can see there, the unit is now running on its backup battery. As mentioned, it's got a 3-hour failover duration, and obviously as I unplugged the actual rapid deployment unit, which you could see me doing in the bottom left hand corner, the switch over the battery was pretty much flawless and unnoticeable. So again, no effect to the actual functionality of the unit when that happens. One last thing to obviously mention and demonstrate is the actual, as I mentioned, the connections on the top of the actual rapid deployment unit are a IP68 sort of molded sort of click connector. Inside the actual power connector is a small link, and under power cut situations, that small link being present tells the battery to obviously kick in and function in a failover situation. Without the connector attached to the top of the rapid deployment unit, the battery will not kick in. So that's useful if you're going to be storing the unit, or the unit's going to be in transit to its next location. Preserves the life of the battery, stops the battery from wearing down and you having to recharge it, preserves the longevity of the battery as such. So if I just put it back on live stream and then nip back to the unit and unplug the top connector, what you should see is basically the stream fail, the connection lost, and also our Wi-Fi connection should fail as well. So I'll just nip and do that. And as you can see there, the time and date in the top left hand corner is frozen, meaning that the stream is obviously halted. If we click on the NVR and go to live view, see we can see there that we've lost our connection to the NVR. If we click on the status screen again, we're not connected to a network, and at the bottom corner there we can see that we've lost our access point from the rapid deployment unit. So basically the camera is pretty much powered down, even though the failover battery is inside. Because that connector at the top and the little link is not there anymore, the battery is now going to stay dormant, and as mentioned earlier, useful if the system's going to be taken down and stored or redeployed somewhere else. So that's it for this video. I hope you've found it interesting, and obviously if you require any additional information on the full range of Revader rapid deployment products, please get in touch with your account manager. Any additional technical information or technical insights into what is available and what they can and can't do, obviously contact Dynamic CCTV's technical department, where we'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks, and see you next time.